Well. So as you may notice, welcome to Friday night, where gorgeous and glorious hits your screen all at once, typically with four people. But Mr. Rad got stranded, and I had to send my private jet to get him. He won't be here
Mhm.
tonight, but he does have some good news, so he'll bring that next time. Uh, Dr. Doom Brantley, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Very well. How are you?
I'm, I'm good now that I see your face. I'll tell you that. I always talk to you about that. I'm always like, man, I miss that guy's face, and now I get to see it. Speaking of Mr. Storm,
Good evening, sir. How you
how are
doing?
you doing?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right, and everything. We had a big week this week on Toybox Chronicles, and I would like to continue it over into Friday, man.
Yeah, I was excited about that. I'm excited about this one. We have a lot that we are talking about, Mr. Storm.
Hmm.
We're going to get into some Doom conversations. I don't know if anyone's heard about what's going on with Doom, but we got some RDJ surprise reveal from SDCC. We have a lot of things happening in the comic realm. We have just I mean, we were talking about it off camera. There's some stuff that came out with DC. Um, I don't know. I'm excited, and we want you to hang out. We want you to get involved in the chat, and who knows, maybe we'll do a giveaway. We're not sure yet. I don't know. I got stuff I want to give away. If you look behind me, you know. So that being said, welcome to Pixel Plastic Inc. Well, fellas,
Yes, sir.
it's been a wild and wacky ride. A
It
lot
has
of
been.
news came out. We want to get into the nitty gritty. Welcome everybody. This is Pixel Plastic Inc. I'm your lovely, gorgeous host, along with my other two lovely, gorgeous hosts. I'm Chet Maddox, Dr. Doom Brantley, and Alexander Storm are all here tonight for your entertainment. So sit back, relax,
That's it.
grab that popcorn. Don't forget to subscribe because you get a free gift every time you do. Like the video, share the video, thumbs up the video, and comment because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what happens in those comments. Fellas, SDCC was talk of the town,
It
right?
was. Hmm.
And in that talk of the town, we had a little surprise with Doctor Doom. And how
Hmm.
do we feel about RDJ and his surprise reveal of Doom?
Well, I think first of all, anytime you get Robert Downey Jr., look, they have been asking ever since the end of the last Avenger movie he was in for his return, and the fans asked for it. And it's really cool, this interesting route, because we've seen this in the comic book where this has happened several times, and
Yeah.
obviously we know this is going to be some variant form of them. But I think you've got the right actor. Look, he's been a hero for so long, but we forget that Robert Downey Jr. is probably one of his generation's best actors.
That's true.
And for him to take over a villainous role and with his same kind of bravado that he normally does, I think this is a win for them. And to bring the Russo brothers back, I can't see this movie falling flat, man.
How much uh Ms. Brindley, how much freedom do you think the Russo brothers have with these two new movies?
Probably as much as they want, because they're the only ones that have proven they know what they're doing with a Marvel movie. They've made the
Mhm.
biggest ones and the
Yeah.
best ones. So, well, what are you going to tell them?
Yeah.
It's like, let them do what they do.
Well, we are. Yeah, I mean, what we are going to tell them is that Rad has some breaking news. He's flying through the multiverse, and he spotted another variant Doom. So we're going to stand by on that one. Yeah, look, I agree. I agree with you. I think that out of anybody that tackles anything with the new version or moving forward, and these guys should have the creative freedom to do what they did before.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't, we'll know. Everybody will know. Everybody will know. It'll be like an Iron Man 3 all over again.
I absolutely think they do have that, because look, there's no way that they came back to Marvel to be in the same vein as some of the other directors, to be basically told what to do. They're going to bring in the probably the writing staff that they've always worked with, that they've been successful with. They probably have a lot more freedom. Look, when you make the money that these guys make, freedom is the tool that you use to the best of your abilities until you've proven that you can't make that money anymore. And I think when you have the Avengers, and look, I'll be just like, we just saw last week, Deadpool and Wolverine. Do not be surprised if there are more cameos and other Avengers that we are not expecting to make some returns or pop up, or some other variants. I am absolutely guaranteeing that Robert Downey Jr. is not our last surprise.
Yeah. Well, Crooked Smile said that Disney decided after so many losses that they wanted to make money. So,
yeah. Mm-hmm. True.
And in case people haven't seen it, here is a little Doctor Doom background stuff and a little RDJ. Pretty good reveal.
Yeah, this is a drop the mic moment where he just.
I mean, in that face, like Robert Downey Jr. knows, man. Mm-hmm. He knows. Like that is the perfect and only thing I expect from him in that reveal, when he just held his arms out. I was like, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Hey, it's me.
Yeah. We absolutely. I think. Where do you think? So hold on, real quick. Actually, Rad confirmed that the new identity of Doom is none other than Diesel. So that's crazy. What kind of Doom do you think Robert Downey Jr. is? You think he's Doom Eternal?
I don't know. There were several. I know that Iron Man's been Doom in several of the original Iron Man books several times. Not just like in some alternate versions. They've been popping up. I know there's been future points, and I think also I think there was also a 2099 story at one point that it happened. So, I think that they took the different approach. And the thing that I'm also kind of just hypothesizing on is that I think that this is one variant of Doom. And then I got a feeling that there's a different variant of Doom that's going to be in Fantastic Four, because if everybody saw the brief moment that the Hall H presentation was up, they did show a little bit of the Fantastic Four, kind of like some behind the scene kind of footage kind of thing they mashed up. But they showed some of the futuristic 1960 Art Deco futuristic cars and everything, and them in that. So I think we're going to be subtly fooled, and I think it's a smart way to do it. I think he is the best villain. I know as a kid, like when you thought about the Marvel villains, you thought Dr. Doom absolutely first. And so we've been waiting this entire time. I think with the 20th Century Fox films, we also was a tad bit disappointed by Doom as well. So they've got an opportunity and a fresh one to do Doom well here.
Yeah, I was actually looking into the different times that Tony Stark and Dr. Doom have like sort of switched places and all that. But I had a crazy thought. And what if they do like a switcheroo and the old origin of Doctor Doom is not that he was in college with Reed Richards, but with Tony Stark. And so then that whole thing plays out where he's disfigured, and then his old rival is Tony Stark, and so he can get plastic surgery to look like his old rival. Just it was a crazy thing I thought of, but a way to explain Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, I mean, Rad said Doctor Doom's greatest power up happened in Secret Wars, where he amassed so much raw power that he became hailed as God Emperor Doom.
Yeah, he took the Beyonders powers.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, there's that one couple of panels that have like shown up now with Doom meeting Thanos, and he basically says, "Oh, so you don't have the glove anymore?" And he's like, "I'm still Thanos," and then you just see Doom pull his like skeletal out. And it's like, yeah, that's Doom, dude. That's why there's a misconception here. So you guys all know that I'm a massive Galactus fan. I have a Galactus tattoo, but Doom has long since been my probably all-time favorite villain in the Marvel universe. Just like Joker is in DC, Doom for me is one of those things where it's, I mean, there's like Doom takes out Galactus. Like, so, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I wish that the previous movies that were out had done justice to I was real upset when it was like, I'm a blogger by the name of Doom. It's like, okay, I gotta leave. And I left that movie because I went to see it in the theater, and when that happened, I was like, I'm out. I can't.
Well, it's crazy that the really terrible Roger Corman version is the best version of Doctor Doom that they've put up so far.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, do you think that there's so I think that like Fantastic Four historically has had, I don't want to say it's been like negative, I don't want to say there's like this thing looming over over Fantastic Four, but I mean, how many times have they done it? And it's just because if you read the comics, Fantastic Four is great, right? Like, and Reed Richards is right up there on brain levels with Hank Pym and Beast. So, what are your thoughts? Do you think that no pun intended, but this new Fantastic Four is doomed?
No, they can only do better.
You think so?
Now, I did work on the trailers for the 20th Century Fox Fantastic Four and Rise of the Silver Surfer. And watching those, how they were like put together, it was kind of sad because there were things that were in and then they cut out to make them a little more family friendly, especially in the Silver Surfer one.
Okay.
And I just don't think they handled it right. They tried to make it's Marvel's first family, right? And so they tried to make it a kid friendly thing, but it was almost too safe and silly and goofy.
Yeah.
It needs to be fun, but also you're right. Like they didn't show Reed is really this smart guy. Doom is, the between magic and science. That's a cool thing that they've never once even tried to do.
Yeah, I think they, Mr. Storm. The question I asked was, do you think that no pun intended, but the Fantastic Four movie is doomed because there seems to be this like negativity and bad stuff that happens to all the Fantastic Four movies? Do you think that this has potential to like change that? And that also goes along with Rad's thing is, why do you think it took so long to bring Doom in? If it wasn't for Jonathan Majors, Doom would still not have been here. What are your thoughts?
2, 1, I'll tell you. I think the problem with Fantastic Four is they've kind of never dived into the Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. I'm gonna say Jack Kirby above Stan Lee. aspect of the Fantastic Four, where it's very like futuristic kind of scenario, like where it's like it's more Art Deco, and there's certain sci-fi elements to it more than comic book superhero things. The 20th Century Fox dived into a lot of the, I think it seemed like more like the animated cartoons or something those days, were goofy, fun, and kind of like joking. And when you read the Fantastic Four, there is a family element to it, but there's a lot of science fiction. There's a lot of things in those early books, especially the first 100 runs that Kirby did, that's completely different. And I think only Mark Waid, when he took over Fantastic Four, was able to also reduplicate that as well. And I think they will dive into that, because I'm looking at like some of the cars. They seem like it's like the vision of in the 1950s of what they thought the future was going to be. Flying cars and the futuristic buildings and everything. It seems very Buck Rogers, but kind of changed down. Which looks like Marvel's diving into that.
Which was crazy, because it kind of made me jump back to Ironman 3 or whatever it was, where he starts to revisit his father, and then they go to Stark Expo.
Exactly.
And so I think that a lot of, because I think one of the, I can't remember. I got to go back and look, but I think there was a car that was shown that was in Stark Expo. So I think it has a lot of potential. The problem I have is that, yes, Fantastic Four is a family. Okay, I get it. But also, like, it's not a normal family, so we don't need like kittens and rainbows. It's literally a family force to be reckoned with, and not one movie has proven that, right? Like, Reed Richards, smart dude, but also like, the moral high ground with Reed Richards isn't always there. And so I think that if they can tap into the fact that he is one of the smartest men in the Marvel universe, along with Doom being the most cynical, like Doom is super arrogant,
Yes, he is. Yes,
very arrogant, very narcissistic, and that's why he works, right? Which exactly like Crooked Smile, Jack Kirby, like, there's a lot of things that Jack Kirby did that other people have tried to continue that just haven't worked. I totally forgot about Waid, but he.
Oh no, I think if you get on to two, and again, like we can debate this a lot, but the reason why I give Kirby the credit a little bit more than Lee is that we all know Kirby was putting the work down. Lee kind of coattailed that scenario in. But Mark Waid is probably, when you think of the influencers of those books, it's Mark Waid next. Because Mark Waid had some runs, and there's some brilliant stuff that he did, and especially with Franklin Richards and certain other aspects that he really brought in. And I see, look, I know I'm going to see the Fantastic Car show up. This is the kind of thing that they've got a chance to do, to really kind of bring like Kirby's vision to life on the screen. And then somehow future, because we know from this is that they're not staying in that timeline or that verse. They're going to flow into the current Marvel universe, and that's going to be crazy. How is that all going to affect it and everything? So there's some plans and some things they came out with that I thought the cast is unusual. I didn't in my mind really picture that cast, but seeing them on stage together, it's like, look, this is not going to be the typical cast that we thought it was going to be. I know there's the fan cast that they wanted, and that didn't happen. And so now we're left with this. So I think they're going to do a good job.
Are we? Because like that's the cast that they want us to see. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Like that's literally the cast they want us to see. I don't have a problem with it. You can't get any worse than the one that Michael B. Jordan was in. You can't.
Yeah, no, that was a terrible movie.
You can't cast it any shittier than that. So so I'm cool. The reason why I'm cool with it is because they're taking it into like another historical direction that it hasn't been taken in, but I think it needs to be to tell the story.
Yes.
And it kind of goes, the next follow-up to that is kind of led in by Rad here, where he said, we talked about this last time, but the merchandise and toys are going to be gigantic. What do you think is going to happen with like Marvel Legends?
I think Marvel Legends 2025 is going to murder it. Look, they own this year, and they're slightly edging out Classified a little bit, but they are edging it out because they brought characters that people wanted this year. Other than I think Rad ordered the Fantastic Four version 2. I think Spidey and a couple of those characters that are in the Fantastic Four. I still haven't seen a proper Marvel Legends version updated, and I would love to see that. I would love to see a Fantastic Car that's done by them. I would love to see some of the, look, I know they're not going to do the Baxter Building, but my theory on that Baxter Building is I think the Baxter Building is going to be the Avenger Tower. I think that's going to be the marquee change is going to happen in the modern day Marvel universe. At one point, it's not going to be the Avenger Tower anymore. It's going to be the Baxter. But there's so many great things. We get an update. Look, we're going to get movie versions of these characters. Again, we just saw Deadpool, Wolverine, and the movie versions of those characters are fantastic. And yet they also had some of the comic versions. Well, next year is going to be fantastic because I think it's in July 2025. Marvel Legends is gonna ramp this up, and all those great villains that we haven't seen in a while from Fantastic Four, and we're just gonna see them regurgitate that stuff out. And I think Marvel Legends has the best upside of not seeing what they're doing at the exact moment to be like, wow, they've got a hell of an upside next year.
Well, now it does depend on the designs. Yes. And how the movie is, because if the movie ends up, somehow sucking terribly, no one's going to buy the toys.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think the movie's going to suck terribly because they already know now what it is. Look, they're leaking out footage and everything else like that. They've got a July 2025 release date on it. There's been stuff already that they've seen and they like the direction of it, or we be hearing about massive reshoots and everything right now. So,
well, they're just about to start shooting. They haven't shot it yet.
Well, they shot some scenes. They shot some.
No, that was all test stuff.
I know.
They
but
actually haven't started shooting it yet.
This is one of the few times where they've actually done some pre-work. Normally, they just throw it in front of the camera, got some animation going. Hey, we'll fix it in the post. See, this is the not fixing the post area now. So I think they know what they're getting. I think they worked on this script a little bit more than they did a lot of the others because. Look, after Deadpool Wolverine was the script they worked on. They worked on that script. They mastered it. Going to screen, you're like, okay, I saw on paper what they did and it translated well. They can't afford to make these kind of mistakes where they're like, well, we'll fix it. Who cares about the script? We'll fix it in post. Can't do that anymore. The stakes are too high. So I think on paper, this Fantastic Four script is pretty good. And then if you look at the caliber of the actors, you're going to leave the Mandalorian to do a crappy Fantastic Four. I don't think that's going to happen. So,
hope not. But look, they don't intend to set out, to make a bad movie. Yes, they thought Eternals was going to be the best thing that was ever.
They set out to make a bad movie. Like I said, you and I both know. Look, this is the BS that we come into. You and I both know if it's on paper. And it stinks. It doesn't translate to the screen, and it gets better, So they
thought it was good on paper.
They took a bunch of secondary has-been characters, and they thought like, look, no one other than a couple of people knew who the Externals was. Even as like relish comic book fans, we didn't know who they were. You mean to tell me that they just like, all right, hey, these are the things going to work. They're like, Jack Kirby got these characters. We can do it right. No. That didn't work itself out. They knew with the other Captain Marvel movie, they knew that wasn't working.
Yeah.
There's a couple of times they know before they start shooting, this is not working, but how can we fix this? I don't think they have that luxury anymore with the Fantastic Four. I think they did that with Captain America Brave New World. I heard they did some hell of a changes, and I heard it actually elevated after they spent that money because they did such a terrible job in the first half of it. They know they can't do this with Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four is like their flagship, like Spider-Man. You don't get another chance. They've already had way too many to fix Fantastic Four. They got to start off this one right, man. So, and again, Pedro, I'm going to waste time. We're going to take our most marketable person in Star Wars and we're going to put him on the crappiest film we possibly can in Marvel, I don't see them ruining 2 franchises, man. So that's where I think they put more thought in this.
They never say it's going to be bad. That's like, hey, get the most expensive, best guy we can get to be up front, because people will believe it. If it's got Pedro Pascal, it won't be bad, right?
Well, they didn't do that with Eternals. They didn't do that with Captain Marvel. They didn't do that. See, there's a point where I think, again, there's too much writing online. You could destroy, your Mondo and Grogu film with a bad Fantastic Four film. And I don't think that Kevin Feige's going to gamble this time around. I think that, he's that trajectory's back up. He went and he got the people. Everybody's like, oh, get the Russos again. Let's do it. He's doing everything to make sure that he doesn't go down the path of doing the stuff that he did after the Russos left. That's where I think that's why I have high hopes for Fantastic Four.
And the other thing is, because they announced Robert Downey Jr. and Doomsday and Secret Wars, it might also be that he is secretly in Fantastic Four as well. They're just not telling anybody yet, or either at the end credit that, gets them to the universe or something like that. But I think there's a reason why they announced him at the same time. It's because they're right before they're going to be shooting, so they needed a Doom to be in Fantastic Four.
Then Robert Downey Jr. is the Marvel Cinematic cash cow.
Exactly. So far.
And to answer Crooked really quick, I don't know if they can do better than the Walgreens Fantastic Four Legends.
Yeah,
those are really good figures.
I got a feeling they're going to try.
They might be able to update them like pinless and things like that, but I don't know. Those are such good figures, man.
Well, here's the things with the Figures Watch too, and I know Chet and I was talking about we were going to do the figure stock market. We were working on this for Toybox Chronicles, and a figure that I think that's going to go up in Marvel Legends and everything. If you find a Kang figure with Jonathan Major's face on it, pick that figure up, because that figure is going to increase at one point. Right now, you get them for dirt cheap, but like, they're basically erasing an actor out of the entire universe or something. That's going to be one of those things, like 3 or 4 years later, that figure is going to jump.
Buy low now, because sell high in a couple years.
They are erasing him from the complete universe of everything. But I got a feeling that Jonathan Majors variant is going to be huge, man.
And
$99.
It is. It's cheap as hell on Amazon, man.
I don't understand why they started with Kang, because especially as a casual Marvel person, I've heard of Doctor Doom. I've seen Doctor Doom and other things. I never heard of Kang until all this stuff started, and then I started looking into it. But I'm just not that big of a Marvel person. But
he's right. He's right.
Look, you're right. That's a real rough comparison.
It is, but hey,
it is true.
They're erasing him in the same way WWE erased Benoit. They're erasing this dude out of the existence. And I heard like there was on Deadline, I was reading that he said like Jonathan Majors was bummed and everything like that. It's like, dude, like, it sucks that this happened, but this is 100% your fault. Do better.
Yeah,
be smarter with your career, man. It's like you can get to a level and it can go like that, and that's exactly what happened to him. And this is out there. This is one of those life lessons for anyone else, is that your success can only go as far as you want to take it, but just as quickly as you got there, you can quickly fall off and everything. So pay attention. But it's the Toybox Chronicles stock market. Buy yourself your Kangs, not the new Kang that they show with the airlift chair and everything. I'm talking about Jonathan Majors. Find that variant, put that back somewhere. That's going to go up in price, man.
And what do you think about a Silver Surfer? Because if Galactus is showing up, you got to have Silver Surfer, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. And we've already heard what version they're going to do of Silver Surfer. And look, I think, I wasn't a true fan of the Silver Surfer. That was one of those weird characters where, like, when I was coming up and Kirby was doing them, and I was like, okay. I never got it. It's the cat rides a surfboard. But then it was the Fox animated show. and I had a completely different appreciation for the Silver Surfer. And I was like, wow, there's a lot more complexity to this character. And I thought that out of the 20th Century Fox films, the Silver Surfer was the best part of Rise of the Silver Surfer for those films. He was the best part of it. So I'm looking forward to having him come back. I hope they do a little bit more with Galactus this time around, because they really kind of left him like, I think it was a giant cloud or something. They really didn't really give him a lot, but I'm looking forward to see some of the cosmic characters like really appear, because then you can start bringing in, like, they've already done, like Rad said, the Super Scrolls. There's a lot of characters from the cosmic world that you can start bringing in. And then, if the X-Men come in, there's the Shi'ar. There's a lot of cosmic characters they haven't even touched upon.
Yeah. Super Scroll. Yeah, I mean, they just kind of overlooked that. I don't think they want to do Super Scroll. I think they're kind of just leaving Super Scroll out.
I think
we're just hoping everyone forgets Secret Invasion.
Exactly.
But you know what? Maria Hill might just show up again. It's like, she didn't die. What are you talking about? That never happened.
Yeah, no, they're doing some. I think it's incredibly smart how they. I don't know what phase this is in now. I think because I think they erased the phase in the middle of it. And so I don't know what they're calling it now, phase 6.B or whatever, 7 or, but I think they've got opportunities. I think Hasbro and Marvel have the best upside for next year, because look, I saw that Hall H panel, and people were like, it wasn't just the Robert Downey Jr. It was also the anticipation of Fantastic Four as well. There was excitement. I haven't seen that excitement in a very long time. And the only other thing that people kept saying was, how's Wesley Snipes a better Blade than we've never seen Ali? And it's, how come you can't get this right? How is it since 2019 you can't get Blade right? But yet again, it takes 30 seconds on screen for the OG. So let's just start this controversy. Why don't they just give it back to Wesley Snipes?
Like I think they have to. I don't know. I think they have to.
Makes sense, brother. It makes sense. They might as well just give him back, man.
Well, I don't know. The story that they were going to tell with Blade, it's taking place in like the 1920s.
Yeah, no, they can't do that crap.
So yeah, it's like, I think they were just going about it the whole wrong way. Why not bring Blade into the modern day universe?
Yeah, no, I think they've got to do them. Like, I've heard at one time they were also going to have Blade's daughter show up. Look, if you bring Wesley Snipes back, you can do this in a very interesting way, and it will make sense. But also, let's be, if they bring Ali in, it's going to, because he's aged almost damn near a decade now. By the time he'll be too old to be Blade by the time he actually gets the Blade role. So they need to do something with that, man. So he's just blowing in the wind. They can't get the script right. They can't get the action right. They can't get the tone right. I don't know why. And again, we just saw Ryan Reynolds and his team get that right. And he had less than 10, 15 minutes of screen time.
One of the best Blade action there was.
Don't understand. Wesley was in great shape too, wasn't he?
Yeah. But also taking characters that everyone had discarded and said, oh, you can't do anything good with these people. And he took those people, those exact same people, and made them all awesome.
Yeah, it was great. How many Dooms do you think are going to happen to show up?
I think a large amount of them. I think we're going to see crazy versions of. I think we'll see the Doom bots. I think they'll show us Homeland. I think it'll go through, because remember, his Homeland's very medieval-ish, kind of like, it looks like, Renaissance of medieval England in a little ways. So I think that you're going to see a several versions of them, especially leading up to the whole Secret War scenario, because I know they call it Doomsday and all these other aspects of it, but you've got to think that they're going to try to do one major crossover from Marvel Universe. And look, Tom Holland will be back, and there'll be a bunch of other people that they're going to have to do this right, and it'll explain certain things too. Because the whole Secret War thing, you can have Chris Evans show back up as Captain America. You can have the Hulk. You can have different variations of the Hulk show up, for God's sakes, and everything. Ed Norton might get another shot at this.
Well, and that's probably why they chose this. They're like, well, what can we do that's as big as Endgame? Secret Wars. It's the only thing that can be as big of a crossover.
You're right. So I think that they've got a hell of an upside to it, and I think that we're going to see a lot. And look, I think Robert Downey Jr. is one version of Doom. I do think they've got another trump card to play. That's going to be some other character that's going to hit us out of left field, and the audience is going to sit there and be like, "Oh crap, I can't believe this happened either." So, it's going to be interesting. But I think this character, getting back to what Red said earlier, I think they were saving Doom, and I think they ran with Kang, and they said, "Let's try to build Kang." But Kang is a very hard character to get people to really appreciate as a villain. And I think that they were like, well, we were going to save Doom because we only have so many great Marvel villains. And we've kind of showed some of it. They didn't really do a great job with the Red Skull. They kind of half and halved them a little bit. And, they ran with Thanos. And then, okay, well, Doom's the next logical one. They're not going to do Fing Fang Fu. They're not going to make him a whole villain. And they didn't do a really good job with the Mandarin. So they've kind of hurt a lot of the villains. And there's not a lot of great Marvel villains. Same thing with DC. There's not a lot of great. There's a handful of great DC villains too. So I think they saved the best for what they needed. And they saw that King thing stock was going down. And it's very smart for them to do a pivot. Other studios would have just replaced King and would have been a different actor involved.
Also, like King isn't just like a casual Marvel type of character.
Yes,
like there's a lot of history behind King, so you can't just like here's like a 2-hour movie and then we want you to be behind King, and then also they're not batting 1,000. They ruined MODOK, which would have been an awesome, would have been an amazing villain to have with all the aim bots. You had, they destroyed that. They made it. I don't know what that was. Like I don't know what whatever it was shouldn't exist.
They ruined a lot. They did Thanos correct, and they've got a chance to do Galactus.
My only feedback with Thanos is I wish they would have. I wish that Thanos's driving force in the MCU was what it is in the comics, and they didn't do that.
Yeah.
So it was like he's trying to prove himself to Lady Death, and then it's just like, okay, well. But Thanos in the MCU, I don't have any complaints. I think it was fantastic. I think it was great. I think it was funny that he was playing two different roles as he was playing Thanos. But it was good. We'll see what happens with Galactus. There's already people bitching about the scene where they said, well, that's not like the right size of Galactus.
Yeah.
When they showed the eyeballs will get in the windows or whatever. And I'm just like, all right, well. I mean, how big do you want him to make this guy? I know he's giant, right?
But he was like the size of the Celestials.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, is he supposed to be bigger than that? I mean, I know he eats planets and everything, but
no, he's the size of a Celestial.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's like, honestly, like the scale that they made the Thanos HasLab is like pretty right on. Right?
Yes,
a 6-inch legend next to Thanos is like ridiculous. So, we'll see. I have an issue. I have an issue with armchair quarterbacks when it comes to movies where it's like I could have directed it better. It's like, well, no, you actually couldn't.
No.
You didn't even get the opportunity, so you can't. So you could say I feel like they should have done it this way, or it would have been cool to see this, but you can't make statements. These people are making statements like, if I was to direct it, I would do this. It's like, you wouldn't. You can't. So
it's just look, there's certain times where Julian and I watch a film and we're like, wow, this thing is pretty good, and it's like you really look and say, damn, I don't know if I actually could have wrote that, because your mindset is not in the same exact way. You know, there's certain times where you really look at it and be like, hey, this is really advanced. And then there's certain times where we've sat in theaters and we're like, oh damn, dude, it's like, you know, if I got hit by a car and was submerged in water, I could have wrote a better screenplay than what they put on that screen. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword. And I think for, you know, people like, how many times do people say, like, they'll criticize the Zack Snyder film? Like, I could have directed a Zack Snyder film. Maybe you could have, but you probably would have got the same damn result that he got. You know, it's like, so, you know, it's really tough to man these characters, especially any of the comic book characters, and please everyone. Look, since 1989, people's bitched about who Batman was. And like, let's say 65, maybe 70% of the time, they've gotten it right. You know, everybody, I remember they were bitching about Michael Keaton. Oh, Jack Nicholson as the Joker. And then all of a sudden, the film comes out, they're praised and everything. Michael Keaton goes to the next level and everything. And then I remember when it came down, Heath Ledger is the Joker. Oh, that crap's not going to work.
Well, that's it. That was
people were like, wow.
Did Brokeback Mountain right before that.
Yeah, but people were like really kind of like killing him. And then it takes 30 and people say, oh no, he even eclipsed Jack Nicholson. Yep. Every time there's somebody out there that's like, no, I hate that guy. And that same exact dude sitting in the theater and he's praising the film when he sees it. Give it the chance to get to the screen. Make your situations from there. You know, look, it's not as easy as Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't think I heard one person that's a detractor from that film. Everybody was like, this is going to be great, and I can't wait to see it. And it was great.
I sent fantastic. I sent you someone that I found that was like, this is like maybe a 7 if they're lucky out of 10. Yeah. And I was like, all right, you're just trying to bitch.
Yeah,
like you're just, you want to be that fucking guy. Shut up.
Enjoy it for what it is. And like I said again, there's some times where when things do happen, and I remember before the Eternals launched, nobody was bitching about the Eternals. They were like, okay, they got somebody who just won the Academy Award, and everybody's like, oh, they started jumping up, and everything's going great.
Angelina Jolie.
5 minutes after that movie had been released, it hands down, the critics and every human being that I've ever seen was like, this is the worst trash I've ever seen. So they get it right, they get it wrong, and everything. So that, but it's not easy to helm these films.
You know what's interesting about that? In terms of like figures, like I don't understand this. Eternals comes out, and there's every figure known to man that you could think of for Eternals, but no one wants them. That's why they're still in Ross and Ollie's and everything else. Deadpool Wolverine comes out, and there's not one damn figure out. Like, I mean, sure, they released Wolverine and Deadpool, and then another version of Wolverine, but like, I can't get it right now. Like, it's not out right now, right? And so it's like, what? And then they obviously like debuted Colossus, but like, I don't understand the thought process behind that, because Deadpool Wolverine, it's a hit, and no one can get anything from it.
Well, they probably made the same amount of toys. It's just that people saw Wolverine and Deadpool on the shelf, and they wanted it. They see Eternals on the shelf, and they're like, who the hell's Fastos? Kingo? Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah. I think this was one... I think Kevin Feige did this. He anticipated Eternals because in his mind, he thought this was going to be a great film. The same way they did Wakanda Forever. And like I said again, I love the aspect of Eternals. Those figures are eternally in Ollie's. Wakanda Forever will forever be on shelves. But like, that was his pet projects. Like, these were going to be great films. So the toys had 6 months in the beginning. Those toys were ready to hit the shelf. Look, Deadpool Wolverine, like, he had a lot of blowback on it. He probably was thinking like, look, I'll let these guys do this thing. But like, you got to be honest, he was probably hoping it failed. So he was like, yeah, we'll do the rollback and everything. We're not going to jump as many products. I've seen here, if you're living in Southern California or any place, because I heard Jack in the Box is not all over the United States or back east, but here. They've got the chimichangas, the Deadpool ones. There's so many crazy things that I've seen that they popped up, but not in the same exact realm that I saw that they did with other films like Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. Like, shit, I turned around the corner and there was Ghostbusters everywhere because they anticipated And while that worked for the merchandise, it didn't work for the film. The same exact way this time around is that they knew that the people were ramping up, but I think they just said, look, we're hoping this film doesn't do well. And then now it's a mad rush to get this stuff to the market now.
Well, I think one of the things also is it's rated R. So they can't be going, well, we got to have these toys for kids for this rated R movie they can't see. Well, even though that's what's going to happen, kids want it. Right, because if you're a kid, you want Deadpool, you want Wolverine. And, someone's probably going to take you to see that movie if you want to.
When I saw Deadpool Wolverine, there was like a 2-year-old in the theater.
Yeah. Well, there's people I think, too, is like, look, I have like younger nieces and nephews. And I think, well, the middle one is like, he's about 8 or 9, and he's never seen any of the Deadpool movies or something. But there's an anticipational buildup where he's like, wow, he was like, we were driving. He goes, Uncle, he says, are we going to go to Jack in the Box to get that Deadpool? I said, what do you know about Deadpool Wolverine? I don't know, but it looks like it's going to be good. They have that kind of like, they've already pulled him in, and he's never even seen the film. I'm like, you will never see this film until you get an appropriate age. But it's the market. They have seen a marketing campaign. It's something flashy. The colors too. Deadpool Wolverine, that red and the yellow, those are trigger colors. It's going to get people out there. So
the Deadpool logo is cute too with the little eyes.
It is. And also there's skins and Fortnite and everything else like that. Look, they know who these characters are. There's a lot of anticipation. I can go out and there's certain Marvel characters that they automatically know who they are because they're in other avenues of Fortnite and other games. So I just think that it was like they wanted Internals to do well. They wanted Wakanda to forever do well. They rushed that stuff to the market to make sure it hit the time of the film, because with the Black Panther, like people walked out and fathers were taking their kids down toy aisles and they were picking up Black Panther figures after they watched that film. They thought the same thing was going to happen. Here is, like I said, they weren't rooting for the film. But second, though, fathers and sons weren't walking out of that theater, walking down toy aisles after they saw Deadpool Wolverine. Let me get you a Deadpool figure. That's the difference, where they said, oh, we can hold off. This is going to be for the older collectors or, people that are not probably going to rush out. And they made a hell of a mistake on this.
Yeah, they did.
Because you would be hearing down toy aisles, Dad, get me an effing Deadpool.
Oh my God. I can tell.
I learned some new language from that movie, Dad.
It is a hard counterbalance with it, but it is. It's very different. Look, I think they need to keep doing R-rated films in that way, whatever dictates that it needs to be. I think when you cater,
Blade should be R.
They should. You can't cater into an audience and hurt the character. You have to make the character live for what it is, and then hope that the audience is like, like if we went and saw like a PG version of RoboCop, like we would have been like, no one. It would.
You mean like the PG-13 one that came out?
Exactly. like, but when you see like the first one, you knew the first one was like, oh, wait a minute, this. It doesn't live in your mind as well. That's the thing about the R-rated superhero films, is that there's younger fans want to watch it because it is something forbidden. I can't go to see this. It's like, wow, I'm waiting for it. And I see that anticipation already building for this. So they've got a hit on their hands. And I'm sure for Christmas, I'll have all my niece and nephew asking for Deadpool and Wolverine, even though they haven't seen the film. They'll be asking for those figures because it's like they want to see it.
Yeah,
and hope that they don't trick Grandma into accidentally renting it for them.
No, that's never happened.
I mean, I'll be asking for those figures.
Yeah, but I think that's the answer to your question, Chad. I think that's the reason why. Is just like I said again, they thought they were going to sell more merchandise, and again, that's why the Internals are forever at the Ollie's, and Wakanda Forever will forever be at the discount also shops as well. They'll never get rid of that stuff. It's gonna always be there. It'll be a decade for later. I can still find a Wakanda Forever figure someplace.
They should send it back and have them like remelt the plastic or something.
Well, do it just like when an NFL team loses Super Bowl, they just ship it overseas or something. They just
like
take all the stuff
for the starving African children. Here's some toys from the Eternals.
Well, that's what they do with when I found that that's what they did with the Super Bowl stuff. Like they just ship it to some place. Like they can't use it anymore. Well, I'm like, that's what we should do. Take the Eternal figures and just give it, and there's somebody that'll grow up and be like, "Hey, these are my favorite characters."
Orphanages somewhere that need toys for kids, right?
Exactly.
Toys for tots. You can do their whole thing, from the clearance aisle.
Yeah, Cricket's Months. I mean, kids love horror toys, and a lot of them have never seen the movies before. And he's absolutely correct. It is one of those things where I think it's the thing that you are basically being blocked from seeing. It builds the anticipation of you wanting to see it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember when you were a kid, probably the first time you saw the Alien figure, it was not in the movie. It was like the actual like toy of it or something. And
no, actually.
What's that? Or you saw the movie first?
I saw the movie first. Like I said, we grew up in the 70s and 80s. Like, it wasn't a film that we didn't say, hey, we're going to go see that in our parents. Now, obviously, that shaped the generation. But, there was a lot of things that I saw in the theater that I had a family member take me to that would never. Look, I saw Purple Rain in the theater with one of my uncles and went to a Prince concert at the LA Coliseum that I should have never been in. At all. Never been in. And it's because they just, everything was a little bit more open and, as long as the family member was there, I've seen The Godfather in theaters. There's certain things where we just do. Now I think we do have to be very careful because even though, I think The Godfather and RoboCop were the two most violent films I saw in the theater, but now there's way too much stuff that you really got to be a little bit smarter on. They've kind of taken the edges up a little bit more, so they really got to pay attention to that. Cricket Smiles also said, yeah, I saw it opening night. My parents' favorite story. Yeah, there you go. Like I said again, I remember you used to go to theaters just because they knew the movie was so damn scary and they wanted to see if you could go to sleep that night, There would be all kind of certain things. So, look, this is parenting of the 70s and 80s and everything like that. There's a lot of mistakes were made.
We'll scare them into being good. Like, you want the alien to come, you better finish your dinner.
Well, like I said, that Texas Chainsaw Massacre, first time I saw that, I was like, I'm not driving through Texas.
And for God's sakes, don't stop. If you do.
Yeah. It's like, just make sure you got enough gas to make sure you get out of that area.
Well, as we're coming to an end, any final thoughts from anybody?
I think as we always get down to this portion of the show, there's something that's highly important that I think it is, right? I think we've always got to have a moment to thank our sponsors, don't we, Dr. Brentley?
Sure. We're going to start with Entertainment Earth.
Yes, sir.
If you are going to get something, check Entertainment Earth first and use that code. You will save lots of money.
Especially on in stock.
Yes.
Really, the savings is there. Like, you're going to spend $80 regardless at the time. You might as well get some discounts on it too. And with that and everything, we think also our day one Toys versus Games.
Toys versus Games.
I'm here with the man, the owner.
Tony at Toys vs. Game.
Holy.
Versus
Games.
Oh.
You know, we take it too far sometimes. We take it too far.
Yeah.
Also, like I said again, if you're joining us, also please like, comment, and subscribe. The most important part is subscribe. Help the channel grow. You know, we do these shows we hope you enjoy it as much as we do. And Wednesdays nights, we've got a couple of things that pop up for us and everything. Great shows that's on for our brother channel, the Sorlac Digest podcast. If you need to know anything about Star Wars, it happens on Wednesday nights. Wednesday nights, we normally have the Fallen Fett that starts at 6 o'clock, Toybox Chronicles that runs at 7. And then we run with the Sorlac Digest. And again, if you need to know anything about Star Wars, they come on at 8 o'clock right after Toybox Chronicles. It's always great. And of course, you catch us here on Friday nights, 7 p.m. Pacific time, for Pixel Plastic and Ink. It was normally the 4 of us and everything, but the 3 of us is holding down because Rad's wheeling and dealing on private jets or someplace.
Yes, and check out this week's Toybox Chronicles. It was a great interview with Ace from Ramen Toy. It was very informative. Great job, guys.
Oh yeah, so, man makes great toys, brother. That's the thing. We appreciate people that do great toys, but the thing I think that changes Ace up a little bit more is they do great toys at a very reasonable price. You know, if you really are looking for something that's large in stature, but also, you know, because a lot of times you're ordering this stuff from, I know we got all these pre-orders coming up from Hasbro and everything. People are always talking about this cost that. You'd be really surprised, like I said, the all-in for some of Ace's products, and you're getting some really nice quality. I think Chet and I both own the Ramen Racer. Beautiful, beautiful works of art and everything. That's not a toy; it's a work of art. You just put it on the shelf and put it with some characters. So
better than the HasLab version was going to be, and cheaper.
Oh, and let me tell you, you're absolutely right. The lighting, the effects, the sounds. And just the whole entire construction. Like we were talking about this, not just there's floor mats, detailed floor mats on the floor, and the seats push up. It's just, you know, trunk space. You weren't going to get that from the Engine of Vengeance, but you can get that from the Ramen Racer.
Yes, sir.
Anything else, Chet?
No, just support your local, you know, toy buying habits and buy. I gotta stop. I mean, I'm running out. I gotta stop buying toys, man. All these everything else. I just got in. I got in my turtles from NECA, and those things are heavy.
Oh yeah.
I did get one of my favorite legends. I got Death's Head.
Yep, I saw that popped up.
And then got some other stuff. But no, you know, we'll be back on Wednesday, same bat channel, same bat time. We appreciate everyone hanging out and crashing with us. And to the guys over at Sarlacc Digest, have a great show. And we will see you guys next week, whether it's Wednesday or Friday. Thank you so much.